Hey everyone, and welcome back to Building Foundations. This is the podcast from us here at DJI Waterproofing, where we share what we learn every day out in the field, helping homeowners in Richmond Hill and right across the GTA keep their places, well, dry and healthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know that feeling. You walk into a basement, maybe a spare room, and you get hit with that specific smell.
Oh, yeah. That musty, damp kind of aroma.
Exactly. It makes you go, uh-oh, what is that? We've all smelled it. And honestly, working here, we see the cause almost daily.
That smell, well, it's often the first sign, isn't it?
Yeah.
A little warning that there might be a bigger issue hiding somewhere.
Yeah.
Usually, as we find in our work, that issue is mold growth.
Right. It's sneaky stuff. Starts small, maybe hidden, but boy, can it cause problems if you don't deal with it.
It really can.
So for this deep dive today, and we're drawing straight from our team's experience and what we talk about on the DGI blog, we want to get past just the yuck factor. We're going to break down what actually lets mold take hold in our homes and, most importantly, what you, the homeowner, can actually do about it. Practical stuff.
Yeah, actionable advice. Because fundamentally, mold just needs a few simple things. First, and this is key, moisture. Got to have water or dampness.
Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. Then it needs something to feed on, an organic material. People might be surprised, but that's things like drywall paper, wood studs, even simple household dust.
Stuff that's everywhere in a house.
Exactly. And the final piece is poor ventilation. Stagnant, damp air basically lets those spores settle down and start growing. You know, spores are always around us, but it's when these three things, moisture, food, and still air, come together that you see the actual growth.
Okay, let's talk more about that smell then. It's more than just unpleasant, right? It's like a signal flare from your house.
That's a great way to put it. That musty odor is usually the first clue that water's been hanging around too long somewhere.
Yeah.
Where you smell it, chances are water is pooled or soaked in, making a nice little home for mold.
And we see it constantly on jobs. That lingering moisture, it doesn't just grow mold. It can weaken drywall, rot wood.
Yeah, structural issues can definitely creep in. Plus, the impact on indoor air quality, which is a huge concern.
Okay, so let's dig into the main causes we run into, like day in and day out across the GTA. High humidity has got to be top of the list, especially with our weather here.
Oh, absolutely. Humidity levels, especially if they're consistently over, say, 60%, that's practically an open invitation for mold.
Right.
Think about the usual suspects. Bathrooms after showers, all that steam.
Yeah.
Laundry rooms, basements, naturally being cooler and damper.
Especially basements.
Especially basements. And here in the Toronto area, you've got the humid summers and potentially dampness creeping in during the colder months. If you don't actively manage that humidity, mold can really get a foothold, often where you can't even see it at first.
So what are the go-to moves for homeowners to fight back against that humidity?
Being proactive is definitely best. Dehumidifiers are essential in basements and maybe laundry rooms. Get a good one.
Yeah.
And actually use the exhaust fans. Bathrooms, kitchens, run them during and for a bit after you shower or cook. It makes a huge difference.
Simple habit, big impact.
It really is. For folks looking for a bigger solution, sometimes whole house dehumidifiers or HRV's heat recovery ventilators are worth considering. They help manage moisture levels everywhere.
Okay, next big one we deal with all the time. Leaks and water getting in where it shouldn't. Could be a tiny drip, could be a crack in the foundation.
Exactly. Any uncontrolled water entering the building envelope is a major mold risk. Foundation cracks, letting water seep into basements, poor grading outside. These are, well, bread and butter issues for us at DGI Waterproofing.
And the tricky part is you might not even know it's happening for a while, right? If it's behind a wall or under the floor.
That's the danger. By the time you see a stain or smell that musty odor, the mold has probably already started growing. It doesn't take long.
So walking through homes like you do, what should people be looking for? What are the early warning signs?
Regular quick checks, maybe once a month. Look under sinks, around toilets, dishwashers, washing machines, any staining. Discoloration. Is the paint bubbling or peeling anywhere? Any weird smells you can't place? And definitely in the basement, look at those foundation walls, especially after rain. See any damp patches or white powdery stuff? That's efflorescence, often a sign of moisture moving through. If something looks off, getting it checked out professionally is honestly the smart move.
Good advice. Now, poor ventilation. It feels like the silent partner in crime for mold. It's not just the wetness, but the fact that it doesn't dry out.
Precisely. Mold loves stagnant, humid air. Think about a kitchen where maybe the range hood doesn't vent outside. or isn't used often.
Or bathrooms without a fan, or one that's never turned on.
Right. Or basements that are just kept closed up.
Yeah.
Without air circulating, any moisture that gets ingest sits there. It can't evaporate.
Yeah.
Perfect conditions for spores to land and multiply, like leaving a wet towel wadded up.
Yeah. Gets funky fast.
Exactly.
Then you have the bigger events, heavy rain leading to flooding or sewer backups. That must just kick the mold risk into high gear.
Oh, absolutely. Exponential increase. Any major water intrusion like that, the clock starts ticking immediately. Even after you get rid of the standing water, so much moisture gets trapped in porous stuff. Drywall, insulation, carpets, wood framing.
And how fast can mold start then?
You can see visible growth in as little as 24 to 48 hours in those conditions. It's incredibly fast. That's why immediate thorough drying is absolutely critical.
So prevention first, obviously. What do you recommend there?
Make sure that some pump is working, and please get a battery backup for it. It's cheap insurance.
Sure.
And check your downspouts. Are they actually carrying water away from the foundation or just dumping it right beside the wall? But if the worst happens, if you get flooding, don't wait. Call professionals for water extraction and drying. They have the heavy-duty gear. Time is really of the essence.
Okay, one more cause, maybe less obvious condensation.
Yeah, condensation is a sneaky one. People sometimes underestimate it. It happens when warm, moist indoor air hits a colder surface. Think windows in winter. Cold water pipes, maybe poorly insulated outside walls.
Right, you see the water droplets form.
Exactly. And if that happens day after day and the moisture doesn't get wiped away or dried out, those damp spots become prime real estate for mold. We see this a lot in older homes, maybe with less insulation.
Makes sense. So how do you minimize that condensation?
Insulating cold water pipes is a simple fix, especially in basements or crawl spaces. Upgrading to better windows, double or triple pane, makes a huge difference on glass condensation.
Or even just that plastic film stuff in winter.
That can help, yeah. It creates an insulating air gap. And just promoting good airflow helps too. Keep interior doors open when possible. Use ceiling fans maybe. It helps even out temperatures and stops those cold, stagnant air pockets from forming.
We've covered how mold gets started. Let's shift to why it's such a big deal to tackle it. Beyond just looking bad, what are the health concerns you hear about from homeowners?
Yeah, the property damage is one thing, but the health side can be really serious. We often talk to people whose allergies or asthma seem way worse at home.
Right.
Mold exposure can really trigger respiratory problems.
Yeah.
And it's especially tough on, young kids, older adults, or anyone with a weakened immune system or existing breathing issues like asthma.
What kind of symptoms should people be aware of? What might point towards a mold issue affecting health?
Well, the common ones are things like a cough that just won't quit, or wheezing, a constantly runny or stuffy nose, itchy eyes, maybe skin rashes or irritation. Some people report headaches, feeling unusually tired. And like I said, for those with asthma, it can definitely make attacks more frequent or severe. So getting rid of mold isn't just about protecting your house. It's really about protecting your family's health.
Absolutely. So connecting the dots between causes and locations, where do you and the DGI team typically find mold hiding in homes around here?
Based on what we see every day. Basements are probably number one. Potential for leaks, higher humidity, maybe not great airflow down there. That musty smell is often the first clue.
Makes sense.
Bathrooms, obviously. Constant moisture, steam, maybe not enough ventilation. Look for those black spots on grout, sealant, or even the ceiling.
Yeah, the classic spots.
Kitchens too, steam from cooking. Potential leaks under the sink, behind the dishwasher or fridge sometimes. Attics can be trouble spots if there's a roof leak, or if poor insulation causes condensation on the underside of the roof deck.
Okay.
Crawl spaces, if you have one, are notorious. Moisture from the ground, very little airflow. You often get that damp earth smell and can see growth on floor joists. And don't forget HVAC systems. Dust and moisture can build up in ducts, leading to moldy air circulating.
Wow, it really can be almost anywhere moisture collects.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, this feels like a good point to pivot towards prevention. What are the absolute best proactive steps homeowners can take based on what you know works?
Prevention is always, always cheaper and easier than cleaning up a mess. Rule number one, find and fix leaks immediately.
Don't ignore the small stuff.
Absolutely not. That tiny drip under the sink, the stain near the toilet base. Check under sinks, around appliances, inside cabinets regularly. Look for watermarks, swelling wood, weird smells, and tackle the big stuff. Leaky basement walls, roof issues, plumbing problems. Stop the water at the source.
Okay, number one, stop the leaks. What about that humidity we talked about?
Control it. Aim to keep indoor humidity below 50% ideally. Get a decent dehumidifier for the basement or any damp areas. Use a hygrometer. They're cheap to actually measure the levels.
Know your numbers.
Exactly. And be religious about using those exhaust fans. Bathroom fan on during the shower and for 15-20 minutes after. Kitchen fan on when cooking. Get that moist air out.
Good habits. And general airflow, how crucial is that?
Super important. Good ventilation stops moisture from lingering. Open windows when the weather's nice and it's not too humid outside. Let that fresh air in. Use ceiling fans. Don't shove furniture right up against basement walls. Leave a little air gap. And again, for newer, tighter homes especially, an HRV system can really help with balanced ventilation and humidity control year-round.
Now, DGI waterproofing. This is your specialty, keeping water out. How does professional basement waterproofing fit into long-term mold prevention?
It's often the most fundamental step for long-term protection, especially in basements. Our solutions, things like installing interior weeping tile systems, applying exterior waterproofing membranes, improving drainage around the foundation. They're designed to physically stop water from getting inside in the first place.
Addressing the root cause.
Exactly. It's not just managing moisture that's already there, it's preventing it from entering. That eliminates one of the key ingredients mold needs.
What about smaller spills or minor leaks inside?
Act fast. Clean it up and dry it out thoroughly. Within 24 to 48 hours is the rule of thumb. Don't let wet towels pile up. Dry out wet spots on carpets right away.
Use fans, maybe a dehumidifier.
Absolutely. Yeah. For anything significant, like a burst pipe or appliance leak, you really need to make sure everything is bone dry. Hidden moisture is the enemy. Professional drying might be needed for bigger incidents. And hey, if you're renovating a bathroom or basement, think about using mold-resistant drywall, paint, insulation. It adds another layer of defense.
Smart. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Cost. If mold does take hold, what kind of remediation costs are we looking at? We know it's not cheap.
Yeah, it really varies widely. Depends on how much mold there is, where it is, what materials are affected. A small contained job might be, say, $1,000 or $2,000.
Okay.
But if it's widespread, if it's gotten into walls, insulation, the HVAC system, we've seen jobs go into the tens of thousands. And in really severe cases where maybe structural repairs are needed too, it can unfortunately climb even higher, much higher sometimes.
Wow. So that reinforces the prevention message.
Absolutely. Paying for proper waterproofing or fixing a leak early is almost always going to be far less expensive than dealing with a major mold remediation project down the road.
What about DIY? Can homeowners just bleach it away themselves?
Well, for a tiny spot of surface mildew on tile, maybe. But bleach often doesn't kill the roots of the mold, especially on porous things like drywall or wood. And crucially, it does nothing about the moisture source.
Right, the underlying problem.
Exactly. So the mold just comes back. Generally, if the area is bigger than, say, 10 square feet, or if it's inside walls, or if there was serious water damage, or if people are having health symptoms, that's when you really need professionals. Our job isn't just cleaning. It's finding and fixing the why so it doesn't happen again.
Okay, good distinction. So what are the clear signs for a homeowner that it's definitely time to call in experts like DGI?
If you have that persistent musty smell, even after you've cleaned, if you see discoloration or staining popping up on walls or ceilings and you don't know why, water stains without an obvious source, that's a big red flag. Also, if you notice your allergies or breathing seem better when you're away from home and then get worse when you come back.
Interesting indicator.
Yeah, it suggests an indoor air quality issue, possibly mold-related, and definitely if you know you've had a flood or a significant leak in the past that maybe wasn't dried out professionally, get it checked. Don't wait on these signs. It only gets worse and more expensive if you ignore it.
And it's not just the cleanup cost, is it? There are other hidden costs.
For sure. Think about property value. Mold is a major issue during a home inspection. It can absolutely lower your home's value or even kill a sale.
Yeah, buyers get spooked.
Totally. And insurance. Many policies now limit or exclude mold coverage, especially if it's linked to poor maintenance, like not fixing a known leak. So you could be on the hook for the entire bill.
Ouch.
And then there's the ongoing health impact, potential doctor visits, medication costs. It all adds up. It really impacts your quality of life.
So the overwhelming message seems to be proactive, deal with moisture now.
That is exactly it. Don't wait. Mold grows fast. A small water issue today can become a huge mold problem surprisingly quickly if you let it fester. Addressing moisture early is the key.
So for anyone listening in Richmond Hill or anywhere in the GTA who's thinking, maybe I should get my basement checked, or they suspect mold, What's the step?
Give us a call or visit our website. We're DGI Waterproofing. This is what we do day in and day out. We can do a thorough inspection, figure out where the moisture is coming from, and give you real effective solutions, whether that's waterproofing, improving ventilation, or, if needed, safe and thorough mold remediation. We want to make sure your home is dry and healthy. That's the goal.
And that brings us right back to the name of this podcast, Building Foundations. We're all about helping you build a solid, safe, dry foundation for your home life. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to Building Foundations wherever you listen. We share insights like this regularly.
And if you want to take that next step towards a drier, healthier home, check out our website, dewaterproofing.ca. You can book a consultation right there. Let us help you protect your foundation.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Building Foundations. We'll catch you next time with more tips to help you safeguard your home and family.